Hi, I'm Supermoon Tarot, and in today's video we're going to be looking at love predictions. What happens next in your current situation? However, this does also include if you're kind of in this situation where you feel like you're just talking to someone, or you can kind of feel like love is in the air, something's about to happen next. If that comes through in the cards, of course we're going to be talking about it today. Before we get into this though, I wanted to put out a sort of announcement or proposition, if you will, because I was directly contacted by my spirit guides, and they want me to specifically ask you if there is some sort of question you guys want me to make a video about. Now, it can be a talking based video, as I'm going to start doing those now, as you saw in my recent spiritual awakening video. However, they told me it's more tarot based, and I'm more than happy to hear whatever is on your mind. Now, keep in mind, while I'm putting this out there now, you are more than welcome any day of the week, any possible video, to say, hey, could you please make a video about this? I've been wondering this for a while, and I'd be happy to go over it. But I was trying to ask other questions today, and they just kept going back to this. They really wanted me to ask you. So here I am, I'm asking. So please put down in the comments below. I look forward to reading them and finding out whatever it is you would like me to go over. Anyways, as you can see in front of us, we have 4 groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to allow you to pick the group you resonate with most. Let me give you a moment to do so. Now that you have, we can go on with the reading, starting with group number 1. Everybody else can go down to the description to skip to your designated group and mark timestamp. Group number 1, let's look at those love predictions by looking at the cards. We have 4 of Pentacles upright, 6 of Pentacles in reverse, 5 of Cups upright, and the Emperor in reverse, upright. Okay. All right, so I can tell you right off the bat, yes, there is a potential for you guys to become and remain a couple. So this works for, if you're just getting together with them, or if you're like, you've kind of been seeing them, but you're not really sure where it's going. There is hints for it being more of a longer term thing, but the main messages I'm seeing coming through is not predominantly about the depth of the relationship. It's more about who they are as a person, what they're going through, to understand what that means, and potentially if you would like to keep being with this person, or kind of seal the deal, become a full-on couple, like what you're walking into, to understand them best and where they're at. This is super important. The biggest thing I want you to understand from all of this is none of this should be taken personally. You can definitely extend that concept no matter the situation, because even if something's happening to you, people are always projecting their own insecurities. But in this particular case, it's something that they're currently struggling with. This is definitely a little more of a heavier message, but this is a heavier message of what they're going through, so you can understand, like, what's happening? What am I doing? Nothing. Let's talk about them now. You know what I mean? So first off, I can see confirmation here, here, and here, and this is the mood set of them being pretty closed off at the moment. That's an important thing that keeps getting repeated, that they are just not in a position where you're going to get someone who's super open and loving and expressive. But we need to understand why that is. So first off, we can see how close they are in the 4 of Pentacles. From what I'm getting, this is somebody who just doesn't have a single molecule they can afford to, energy-wise, to throw your way, because they need the baseline of what they can summon within themselves in order just to be a functioning person. So this is not somebody who's intentionally trying to be greedy with their energy or time with you. They just are trying to get by, essentially, and they're kind of, just to set a tone, they're in such a situation or place where they are not even able to do anything other than just kind of get by, so to speak. And that's all they can really summon. They're not even able to feel okay, and then see if they can push themselves to slowly become more optimistic, slowly be a little more expansive, slowly heal. You know what I mean? That's just not where they're at right now. That definitely continues over in the Six of Pentacles, and this is where some of the confusion can happen in the relationship currently, because this is somebody who is, it can come out in a couple different ways. I'm just going to put that out there. Sometimes it's when somebody puts more attention somewhere else, like maybe their work or maybe friends or something other than you. But again, this is not coming from somebody who, this is not a reading where they are taking you for granted and they kind of see you as someone they'll just be with when they want to be with. Not at all. This is somebody who feels that it's easier to avoid themselves and real situations because it's just too hard to handle right now, and so it's easier to put all their attention and priorities there. You know, it's like that's what they can understand right now. That's how they can kind of put on their autopilot as a person and handle that type of thing right now. This definitely can pop up. I will put this out there when somebody is taking a little too much of advantage. If they are, I do want to give you kind of a red flag. That's not the main message at all I'm getting here, but I just as like a byproduct, if this, because this is a general reading, if this so happens to be your case, this is somebody who is taking advantage of you. They want to see what they can get. They're you know, you get what I'm saying. This is not somebody who's going to change. You know what I mean? They're kind of almost like an energy vampire, so to speak, and maybe just something to consider. But so we have someone who you might think is ignoring you. They're not. They're just trying to, you know, heal and deal with what they can deal with. But then we have the Emperor card. The Emperor card that shows, yes, if you got together with them, if you wanted to stay with them, yes, this has some long-term potential, because they are the type of person to be loyal, and they're very comfortable with routine. So once you get into their routine, they're down with that. But this is not somebody who's terribly great at romance. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't come naturally to them. They don't express it in a way that maybe you understand, or the way you particularly like to express yourself. The best way to think of it is like, maybe you need to hear from your partner continuously every day. I mean, like, I consider that a normal thing. Like, that's how I am. Every day you need to hear that, you know, that they love you and they care about you, and maybe they hold your hand. You see what I'm saying? And there's that very obvious reassurance. This is not the type of person that express themselves this way. They might express their reassurance by being this dependable person that's always going to bring home money, or show up when they say they're going to show up. And that just might not be enough for you. That might be nice, but you might need something a little more proactive, a little more vocal. You know what I mean? So again, something to consider depending on how you work and what you need from being with another person. But here's the big thing I want to point out. When we have a Five of Cups situation with the other cards included, this is somebody who is suffering from a deep sadness right now. They're just not feeling great. They definitely have their mind more focused on that. This is where they might seem distracted, not as interested. It's not that they're not interested, it's that it's a perspective thing. It's like they're acknowledging you're there, but I would say it's almost an accidental taking you for granted. They're not meaning to, they're not trying to hurt you. They would like to change, but in order to function and be the best version they can be for you, obviously it's distracting when they don't feel good and they want to solve that in some kind of way before they can really turn around to you and just be themselves. The main name of the game here is they just don't know how to be themselves, because this heavy emotional burden is just taking too much of their attention right now. And I think we've all been there at some point in our lives, so we can understand. So the main thing I want you to get from this is that if you wanted to continue pursuing this, yeah, that potential actually is there, and it can have some long-term benefits. But this is somebody who's currently struggling with some emotions, which causes them to express themselves in a way that might be misinterpreted as not being interested or taking you for advantage, and that just is not the case with this person. Also keep in mind, they're a bit of a stoic person to begin with. They are not going to express themselves in the way, like when they say they like you or love you, in the way you're used to. So keep in mind, in the long term, is that the kind of person you want to be with? If that is, there's nothing wrong with that. Go for it. I'm happy you're happy. But for many people, that's not their personal vibe. You know what I mean? So yeah, a lot of things to consider. I hope this made you feel better so you don't think that you're being like neglected or anything like that. They seem like a nice person, honestly. But this is kind of an important message to understand. This is like a bit of a fork in the road of saying, this is who they are, this is where they're at. Would you like to be a part of this journey? So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye. Oh, wait, two. Group number 2. I totally blanked. Group number 2. Let's find out in your love predictions what happens next by looking at the cards. We have 8 of Swords upright, 10 of Pentacles in reverse, the Hangman in reverse, and 9 of Swords upright. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm connected to someone who's really struggling right now. I'm so sorry. You're very, very stressed, and I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, I will tell you this before we even start and go into any of this, because most of this is acting as almost sort of a reflection, because sometimes we need to kind of hear what we already know or subconsciously know. This is more of a subconscious thing, to be honest with you. This is not something that you are allowing yourself to see at the forefront of your mind, but sometimes we just need to hear this as a form of like, how do I express this? It's like we hear it and you go, you're right. Oh yeah. And then by just hearing the situation as is, we're then in turn able to understand the ultimate decision we're going to make, which is interesting. So first off, I want to talk about the Hangman in reverse as a really hopeful, positive thing. This actually talks about how there are better opportunities for you than you are allowing yourself to see. And that things have kind of been stagnant for a little bit, things have been weird, and during that time period, during that stagnation, there were opportunities presenting themselves that you weren't allowing yourself to see, you weren't taking advantage of, you weren't going for. Now, the thing I think is so interesting here is there aren't cards implying what those opportunities were. So it doesn't have to be just purely other people in your lives that maybe might have been interested in you. It could have been an opportunity to get to know yourself better, maybe to do something fun, maybe to work on a new project, or throw yourself a little more into your work and get better at it, and then over in the long term have a more successful career. Whatever it is, there seems like there were other opportunities presenting for you right now, and you're kind of distracted by this current situation. I can't blame you. Nothing you should beat yourself up over. It's just like a hopeful idea of like, take a second right now as you're listening to this card reading and really look around you and think of what there could have been that you were missing, and see if those opportunities are still there. Go look for them, go reach out to them. They're going to help you right now. And also kind of open up a brighter, better path. And who doesn't want that? Now, the biggest thing I see coming through is that intensity, that stress being put upon you with the 9 of Swords. This is somebody who is so overwhelmed that it's starting to spread to the couple itself. It's an overwhelming thing. But again, I understand why that's there when we have the Hangman in reverse. This is when there is a sort of dramatic shift that's going to happen in the relationship. It does not confirm in the least that anybody is going to break up if that is not what you want to do. It just implies that somebody in the relationship, and I do say somebody, including you, could decide they want to take on a whole new perspective, go a new path, but still potentially stay in the relationship or leave. So it's like maybe you and your significant person, this other person you're interested in, always bicker because you would like if they were, around more, maybe invited you out more or something like that. And essentially you kind of hit this point inside yourself where you're like, if you don't want to invite me on those nights out, or if you're going to take forever to make a decision or get here, I'm going to just go have fun myself. I'm going to go have fun. I'm not going to wait. I'm not going to be the type of person that waits anymore. I still want to be with you. And if you want to understand, if you as time they realize, oh, I want to be included too. And they start to insert themselves more because they see how proactive you are about taking care of yourself, that can ultimately happen. But somebody is going to be making that sort of mental shift and then show that with their actions now. That's the biggest thing coming through. That's going to be the next course of action popping up, which is actually great and very much needed. I often find when we get a Nine of Swords situation, this comes from a place of stagnation, feeling like you're just trapped with unsettled emotions. So know that those emotions are going to be released as the mindset changes. Go with it. This might make you feel scared at first, but understand that you're only feeling fear because you're in a place of fear. So walk towards that fear. Sometimes when we have fear, it's our, this is a interesting thing. I just wanted to share this of note. It's actually our internal body's way of working when we self-sabotage. Self-sabotaging is actually our body's way of motivating us to go towards something out of fear. But the problem is most of us experience the fear and then go, I shouldn't do that thing. In this case, when you experience the fear, it's your body's way of saying, go towards this thing. You should most likely do it. I'm trying to motivate you. I'm not that great at it. I'm having the opposite effect. You know what I mean? So that's just something to keep of note. But here we get more of an explanation of kind of like where you're at, what's going on, and some things to keep in mind, so to speak. When we have a Ten of Pentacles in reverse situation, it's funny. I'm not mostly connecting to this. So I think this is kind of I'm trying to interpret this card. Traditionally, this card talks about the idea of your partner overspending and putting kind of you as a couple in a jeopardy position where, if you're both working towards common goals in life, whatever those long-term pursuits are, often you're depending on one another to bring in some sort of income or something like that. But you could see it as energy. You're both trying to bring in energy, and one person's overspending it, putting it elsewhere, and they should know better. They do know better, and yet they're still making haphazard decisions that are kind of putting both of you at risk. I don't personally feel like this is a money situation, to be honest with you, for like any of you. I'm always saying this is a general reading, but I'm just not getting the vibe it's that for you guys. Whatever it is, we need to focus on the idea, the action, that this other person is aware of what they are doing. These mistakes they're making that seem like they hurt you guys as a couple, it is not helping. They are aware of it and they're still making it. This usually comes from somebody who, it's interesting, it could pop up for somebody who's being selfish, for sure, and just kind of putting themselves first and instant gratification. But this often pops up, and this is just something to understand because humans are quite complex, that it feels more like they are somebody who does not personally feel fulfilled in their life. So they are trying to solve that by making these decisions. Yes, they are aware it hurts you, and they're still making those decisions, but they are trying to fulfill something to be a better version of themselves, and they feel that takes the most precedence. They're not consciously trying to hurt you. They just understand that their actions do have consequences. So that still doesn't feel good, I'm sure, to hear or experience, but it's to understand that they're not trying to be unkind. They don't ultimately want to, throw you on the back burner and only take care of themselves. There is something that needs to be fulfilled or understood about themselves that they're just not getting, and they're desperately trying to fix and solve. Keep in mind, I don't necessarily see a solution to that anytime soon, so that is something you should consider, being with someone like that who's trying to solve something that isn't going to be solved anytime soon. I just want to put that out there. But then we have an Eight of Swords situation, and this completely makes sense when we have a Ten of Pentacles. This is when somebody is bringing down somebody else in the relationship. The thing I think is so interesting here is they might have made you perceive, or you might have even thought that you were the one bringing them down in the relationship, that your stress and this sort of tension we talked about over here in the Nine of Swords was the problem. But in fact, it is not. It can be. I'm not saying it hasn't somehow affected your partner, if I'm being honest. However, the stronger thing that I'm getting is from their actions affecting you, and then in turn you're affected, and then you affect them. Do you see what I'm saying? This is not a blame game, and that's not any way to solve situations in oh, sorry, I didn't know I had my air conditioner on. Sorry about that. What I'm saying is understand that there's an answer to why you feel this way. It's over here. Yes, you are a little bit accumulating to affecting them, but understand that they were the ones that affected you in the first place. Again, it's not about a blame game. It's just about having a certain sense of an answer in order to feel like you're seeing the situation properly and you can heal and make the best decisions possible. So the main thing I'm seeing here is that there is both a potential to leave them with the decision of a mindset of saying, I don't want to be someone held back anymore, and you don't want to be with that. If you want to do that, you can totally do that. That option is available, and most potentially might happen as you realize, I don't want to feel like this anymore. They're making me feel like this. This is where they're at in their life. This is where I'm at in my life. But also, keep in mind, you can positively affect the relationship by saying, okay, you want to be someone who spends your energy here, spends your energy there, or potentially money here and there. You want to not understand the greater good of our relationship. Well, I'm not going to take it when it happens, and I'm going to do something that makes me feel better. If you're going to take care of yourself and make yourself feel better, I'm going to make myself feel better. And in turn, you may potentially positively influence them into kind of taking a chapter out of your book and learning how to migrate their own feelings and fulfillment, in a more positive way, essentially. So, there you go. Keep those things in mind. I hope you heal and feel better and better understand where all these emotions are coming from in order to send that energy back to them. Remember, you can always send energy back to other people. I want you to put your hands over your heart, and then I want you to release those hands outwards, and I want you to say, I send back that energy that came from them, where it became. Oh my goodness. Good. I'm getting tongue twisted. You know what I'm saying. Anyways, I'm wishing the best for you. All these noises are popping off. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Please consider giving this video a like, comment, subscribe. It helps out the channel like you would not believe. Have a lovely day, and let's get ready for group number 3. Group number 3, let's look at your love predictions by looking at the cards. We have 9 of Swords upright, Queen of Swords upright, 2 of Wands upright, and Ace of Pentacles upright. Oh, okay. So this is, I'm really excited to say that I have a lot of great things to say and positive stuff towards the future. This is important, though. I do want to talk about this because this is going to, this is interesting and something, it's a reaction that you might have that you want to consider, because there's all this good stuff and being able to better manage it and everything, because this isn't necessarily bad, it's just important. So let's talk about all the good stuff. First off, my spirit guides are telling me, how do I express this? It's this vibe where I don't want to say it's like a younger couple. Like, age is not an important thing here. They are showing me somewhere around the age of 20 and 25, but this is a general reading, so some of you might be around that vibe, and some of you are more like it's a newer situation going on. But either way, it almost feels like two old souls coming together, where while it might be new, and nobody's, running to the altar, so to speak, it's this feeling that it's an unspoken feeling that you're both building and working towards the long term and longevity of being together. Again, you're not sitting there and ultimately being like, one day when we get married, or yes, let's go buy a house. It's just unspoken that even when you're hanging out and you're together, it's just like, yep, we're in this. We've got this. We both want to continue to be together, which is really nice. That confirmation gets continued over here from what my spirit guides are saying with the Ace of Pentacles. This is somebody you can depend on. This is going to be definitely a sturdy relationship that you can kind of more put your all into. You can say, can I throw my, because we make financial investments when we are together with someone in the long term. Yes, you can do that. You can do that emotionally. You can build something with them. This is somebody worthy of that you can really open up to in that kind of way. It's new, but it's already there, and I'm excited for you. And I would say potential, because sometimes it's like you have to get into it, see how people react, and then see, do you both want to invest in that for that sort of, like, it's like the potential's there, but is that potential going to continue? Well, I can actually say in this case, it's not potential, it is going to continue when we have a Two of Wands situation. But now this is important, where it's going to go next is going to happen. So I can see over here in Queen of Swords, there is going to be a discussion happening where it's going to be pretty honest. Now, the thing that should relieve any of your worries is it might seem like this information has been kept from you or something like that. Not at all. This is more of like being really open, like truthful, putting it out all on the table. There is no, and this is where the relief should come in your situation. There's no secrets being kept from you. They don't have some hidden agenda. There's nothing bad here. They're just being completely, totally honest with a perspective, what they want, how they think of you, and it is for the benefit of you and the benefit of the couple. I want to point this out. This is not someone being nasty or saying anything necessarily bad, but by your reaction, it seems like it's a serious discussion. My spirit guides are making me feel that it's an incredibly light thing. There's a lot of good intentions behind it. It's a very good vibe. It's coming from a very loving place. There's nothing about bringing you down. It's about bringing you together. And that's important to note here when we have a Two of Wands situation. This is the main thing that's motivating them to do this, and I want you to keep this in mind when the discussion happens. When we have a Two of Wands situation, did you hear my voice just harmonize with the bird chirping in the distance? Wow, that made like a weird, like a robot sound. Anyway, sorry, weird glitch in the Matrix kind of moment. So anyways, when we have a Two of Wands situation, this is the perspective of somebody who wants to be on the same page and is on the same page. They, by having a long-term, they understand by having to be able to have a long-term success, they want to be in total understanding of one another. They want to have the same goals and ideas in the long terms. They want to be like, this is where I'm coming, this is where you're coming from. It's a sense of harmony through intelligence. I know Wands is not a mindset thing, it's more of like an action-oriented thing. So this is them taking the action steps in order to be that way. But for me, in this particular situation, this is a mindset. They want to talk about this with you and say, hey, I want you to understand who I am and how I function. And I want to understand how you are and how you function so that we can work in harmony. I want to be able to come to you at the end of the day and say, this is how I feel. This was how my day is. And you understanding, we can feel that much more connected because you understand why I react to things the way I do. You understand why I make the decisions I do, kind of thing. So it's only wanting to be that much more connected to you. So it's not like this isn't going to be a conversation where they say something and they're just hurting you. They're like, you need to get over it. Or like, I think you really need to work on this for us to be a better couple. Not at all. They're just like, hey, if I come across this way, understand this is where I come from. Hey, when I see you being like this, I need to understand why are you making those decisions? Now, when we have a Nine of Swords situation, this can potentially talk about somebody who's suffering from a sad time period in their life or suffers from these type of feelings regularly. This seems like there is some sort of just an honest discussion about it. And I want you to keep in mind, this is super important when we have a Queen of Swords situation. This is somebody who's being honest because they feel they do not need to shield you from the truth, because they understand that the truth is better than putting a glossy, print over, putting a Band-Aid over a huge crack. They are doing it out of love and respect. They love and respect and trust you. So don't put those walls up, essentially. When you hear this conversation, if it is about something like sad about that, or a conversation that's hard for you to have, be open to it, because they are here to listen, and they are kind of cutting through the fat and skipping many months of confusion, and maybe potentially you don't even know, you might project something and then they react to it. They're just saving both of you a bunch of time by sitting down and saying, what's wrong? How can I help? I've noticed you've been like this, or I've noticed this is the situation, and talk about it. Understand that these feelings are going to be kind of come out to the surface when you didn't anticipate them to. Understand where they're coming from, how much they care about you, what they're striving for, and be open to hearing them, because this is not about them telling you something. This is and then you having to sit there and take it. It's about them trying to express themselves, kind of sit acting as like a mirror for you, showing the situation as is, and then having that conversation in order to resolve it and in the long term gain that sort of being on the same page together. Oh my goodness, did you hear that loud bang? It is a noisy morning over here, so sorry about that. So overall, I feel a very long-term connection here, like super long-term. It's interesting. I don't have specific cards saying that you guys are soulmates, but I'm getting that sort of vibe. I'm getting this super old vibe from you guys that extends past previous lifetimes. You guys are building something. You guys are going to overcome a lot of stuff together. That includes internal stuff you've been battling with for a while, but be open to it, because this is their motivation. They're coming from a place of love and growth, and that will help you overcome your feelings in order to then grow and continue to be on the same page from them, and then help them with a similar sort of mindset and mind frame. So yeah, I'm excited for you. You've got this. I'm excited that your partner is showing you so much respect and being so proactive in the relationship. And consider giving this video a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a lovely day, and let's get ready for group number four. Let's look at your love predictions and what's going to happen next by looking at the cards. We have Three of Cups upright. Oh, sorry. Two of Pentacles in reverse. Three of Cups upright. And Knight of Pentacles upright. Oh. Okay, we have interesting. Normally I can really pinpoint it, be like, this is it, this is the thing. But I'm seeing three potential situations and outcomes here. And this is a general reading, so I'm just going to share all of them because, that way everyone's included. So in one perspective, first of all, let's talk about the Two of Pentacles and what that essentially means. It can mean a couple different things. It just talks about the idea of being on the same page with your partner. Are you both striving towards the same goals? Do you both understand what the other one wants? And are you both okay with that? Whatever it is. And then essentially it can go either way. It can be about dropping, and that means potentially, one of you guys drop one another, no longer with each other in order to give attention somewhere else, or it's about then prioritizing you and the relationship and dropping other things in their lives and understanding that might not be, they would gain more in life by giving this attention and giving themselves a break in other departments in their life. Now, I'm going to talk about some of the things that might be difficult to hear, just putting it out there first, and then we're going to end with what I predominantly feel for 90% of you, the main messages. So for some of you, one of the options is it potentially talks about the idea that they want to have time with their friends more. I do want to just put this out there though, if you're like, which one do I fall into? Which category do I fall into? As I describe these situations, you're going to identify it easily. You're going to be like, yep, that's the person we're talking about. That's it. You'll know, don't worry. But anyways, this is when someone kind of is like ditching you a lot. They just want to hang out with their friends more. Maybe they, I've seen an awful trend recently where like people will fall asleep on FaceTime in order to go, like play video games or something like that. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. This is someone who actively does not want to include you with their friendship groups. That's their priority in their life right now. They really shouldn't. They're actually being advised that they need to find more of a harmony that is going to kind of bite them in the butt in the long run. But either way, this is a situation where you're going to most likely leave from it and find your next potential someone somewhere else, not within this person. I will forewarn you that it will take a little while. It's before you find the next person, but you just got to be patient, relax, enjoy your own company, hang out with your own friends. Don't worry about it. The other second scenario is that there is another person involved. Now, the thing is, with the Three of Cups repeating twice, that it kind of like points it out more. But usually when I get somebody being unfaithful, I would need particular cards and like a couple of them, and I'm just not seeing them, so I just don't feel like this is the most likely outcome. And it does show them in the end ultimately taking prioritization over this other person instead of you. Again, not great. Sorry if that is the case for you. That's just unfortunately sometimes the way the cookie crumbles. But here's the third one. Here's the predominant one I'm getting that is most likely your situation. So, this is saying that you both should take the time to socialize with one another's friends. Everybody and every individual is different and can have happiness and express themselves in their own way, but that also goes for relationships too. There is not one way to be a couple. And some people like to be alone all the time. They just want to be with their significant other. But some people love being social and always want to hang out with a group of friends, both as a couple and with these other people. That's because there are memories meant to be built here, and that will then in the long term benefit both of you. You will thrive from seeing your partner be their best selves in this circumstance. You're also going to be challenged in fun ways, not in a weird like testing the relationship kind of way, as in you will see your partner expressing versions of themselves they wouldn't normally by their friends poking and prodding and having fun. Same thing with your friends. And this is a really positive moment of saying you should do that. It's going to benefit both of you. And that opportunity is there. You're going to mesh well with both of your friend groups. So definitely say to this person you're kind of seeing, say, hey, what do you and your friends like to do for fun? Can I join you? So let's say it is video games. You say, hey, can I join you in some way virtually? Is it what game are you playing? Can I join that game? Maybe for you and your friends, you like to be silly all night and dance and play charades or something like that. That's about then you including them and inviting them to be a part of that and have them go out of their comfort zone. Either way, you guys are going to have a great time. Everything's going to go well, and you're going to experience things you haven't before because of this sort of switch and flip in the way one another lives lives with other people. So very, very, very cool. Love that. But in addition to that, it does talk about this sort of socialization time period going on for a while. It seems like it's going to carry you guys into a new era. I'm not specifically getting what that era is. It almost has a tone of like seriousness in a positive way, but that right now is your time period. You're going to be in this social time period with your significant person and everybody else for a long time. It's like a key and defining part of who you guys are individually and who you guys are as a couple, and it's going to be going on for a while, which is really interesting to note. I always think it's interesting when tarot or your spirit guides want to talk about the longevity of things, because sometimes we need to hear about longevity because it helps clarify, makes us feel patient, makes us feel like we're able to handle, tough questions and say, okay, it will happen soon, it's just going to take a while. I think this is a really interesting case that you're hearing about it lasting for a long time in a good way. So very cool. Take that for what you will. But definitely both you and your partner need to drop something else in your life in order to give the relationship and be on the same page. And being on the same page is by understanding where both you and the other one are coming through social circles, and just giving the fun part of your life the main priority right now. So yeah, I'm excited for both of you guys to have a good time, be silly, have fun. It's gonna last a long time. I'm excited for this relationship to grow and memories to be built. If you enjoyed this reading, please consider giving it a like, comment, and subscribe. It helps out like you would not believe. Have a lovely day. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!